I'm Gavin Rowland here in Tucson, Arizona at the 2016 Science of Consciousness Conference. And this is my poster presentation, Dark Energy, New Possibilities for the Science of Consciousness. I'll just take you through some of the details. Dark energy was discovered in 1998. It's thought to be the force behind the accelerating expansion of the universe. It's everywhere in the universe, we're told, and actually about 2/3 of the energy budget of the universe is this dark energy, the rest being matter. Because it's non-material, it has novel possible properties. It's not necessarily bounded by the speed of light, so my conjecture is that it could be the place in which non-material information could be transmitted in the background to our quantum experiments and in the background of consciousness, because there are properties of consciousness and properties of quantum mechanics that are seemingly non-local, faster than light. So in quantum mechanics we have things like wave function collapses and superpositions, quantum jumps, and in consciousness we have features such as free will, the unity of conscious experience, where seemingly different functions and properties of consciousness are operating in separate parts of the brain. We also have things like psi experience, if you want to consider those kinds of possibilities that are seemingly non-local. So what I'm saying is we need to move forward to this new physics and start considering dark energy as part of our models. So we've talked a bit about the possible non-local properties of dark energy, and without getting into any further detail about that, I'd like to move on to some other conjectures that I have about dark energy, because it's very difficult to prove this kind of stuff being non-material. It's difficult to measure, but I think there are some other properties that we can deduce from particularly the Big Bang. And the place I'm starting with the Big Bang is from nothingness. I think that's the logical place to begin. The universe was created in the Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago. It's been expanding ever since, and it's enormously large, so that to me suggests that perhaps it did come from nothingness, because nothingness by its very nature should have no boundaries. There should be no limit to the amount of nothingness. Perhaps that can explain the absolute enormity of the universe, which presumably goes on beyond our visual horizon of it. So starting with nothingness, conservation of energy is very important, and I think it was 1988 that Stephen Hawking quoted Alan Guth, the guy who proposed inflation, saying the universe is the ultimate free lunch because gravity and energy balance out. And that's fair enough. The two have been measured and apparently they do balance out. So they could be created from nothingness. But since then we've had this dark energy appear on the scene. 2/3 of the energy budget of the universe, and it's all spatially expansive, whereas with gravity and energy we've got one that's spatially contracting, one that's spatially expansive. So I'm proposing that there actually was a second dark energy, a spatially contracting one from the Big Bang, that started off small, has been contracting ever since, so we can't pick up these little pools when we do our large-scale assessment of what's happening in the accelerating expansion of the universe, except perhaps that accelerating expansion was held back a little longer than we would have expected, which is actually true to the data, because this accelerating expansion only kicked in the last 5 billion years or so. It's also possibly included why these primordial black holes developed, or how they could have developed, because they seem to be very important in the early stages of the universe. Certainly a lot of the findings in cosmology that are coming out these days are suggesting that we need primordial black holes. Okay, so that all satisfies conservation of energy. My other third conjecture is about dimensionality. Now, I would say that the universe requires a what, a when, and a where to exist, as in to exist from nothing. And they're the key criteria. They're the criteria for existence that we're aware of in our universe. So I think we can certainly apply it to the universe as a whole. Space and time seem to have formed in a conservation of energy way again. On the one hand, spatially expansive, spatially contracting, on the one hand, speeding time up, slowing time down. So slowing time down, spatially contracting, is gravity, singularity. Speeding time up, all clocks run because of energy. Energy is spatially expansive, so there's our positive pole again. And the same thing I would say applies for these two dark energies that were formed. One spatially expansive, but also speeds time. The other one slows time and contracts space. And on top of all of that, I would say that the universe had to create its own what, which is the complexity of the universe. And I think, again, we've got the same kind of pattern happening because we've got a situation in which complexity is continually unfolding and becoming more complex in the same manner as that spatial expansion that I talked about. Gravity doesn't actually possess any complexity of its own in its own nature, so maybe energy kind of got all the constants and the laws. Gravity just got the one, and the rest is adapted to gravity. How that would have happened? Well, this goes back to Paul Davies' conjecture in 2006 of the self-creating universe, and he proposes that by this retrograde information transmission that we see in quantum mechanics, that the universe could have engineered itself to create what it is now. I think we need to have a complexity dimension to actually understand why that would have happened. I'll leave that there rather than going into that in more detail, but I would say by the same logic, the positive dark energy is constructive, the negative dark energy is destructive. Now what we have here is an exact match for the emotions. So on the one hand, positive emotion speeds subjective time. Time flies when you're having fun. It's constructive and it expands our awareness spatially. We get the global view. Negative emotion causes tunnel vision, it slows subjective time, and it's destructive, particularly when there's severe and chronic negative emotion. I'm a medical practitioner. I can take this further into understanding things like mania, anxiety, depression, all the negative emotions, and internalizing, externalizing disorders. And it also spreads on further into a full discussion of spirituality and possible existence of God. But I'm going to leave it at that for now. There's a lot in the model. Thank you.